Adam Kuda here with a little all-out blitz trade bait and stardom sit-em video for you midweek as we get set for kickoff in week 4 of the NFL tomorrow night. The first name on this list of guys you should be targeting is Steelers running back Le'Veon Bell. With trade rumors swirling about the Jets, potentially the Colts, and Packers interested in his services, throw out an offer to those Bell owners that may be frustrated that he hasn't gotten on the field yet this season. Who knows? Maybe they'll take you up on it and you get the best back in football for the second half of the season. Then there's Aaron Jones of the Packers. Jamal Williams did not impress during his first couple games this season, and now Jones is back, and he can impress and lead the Packers in carries, yards, and touchdowns the rest of the season. Go put a small offer out for Jones and see if you can acquire this guy who is back and better than ever. Then you got Chris Carson, 32 carries, 104 yards, and a touchdown in his coming out party against the Cowboys last week. Sure seems to have distanced himself from Rashad Penny in that competition, so throw an offer out there for Carson and enjoy the ride as a running back too, with a heavy workload moving forward. Then you've got Andy Dalton. Yes, he struggled in Carolina in the second half, but that was with A.J. Green out with a groin injury. Green should be back this week. Tyler Boyd's developing into a superstar, and Dalton's got 8 touchdown passes through his first 3 games. Now he gets the Falcons in their 25th ranked pass defense this week in week 4. Go grab Dalton. And then there's Sterling Shepard. 2 games this season with 7 or more targets, and now no Evan Ingram in the lineup for the foreseeable future. 6 catches, 80 yards, and a touchdown against the Texans, and now he's got the Saints up next, and we saw what Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones did last week. Sterling Shepard's a great guy to go pick up this week. For guys that you may want to deal, Aaron Rodgers is the first name on the list. Look, he's a superstar, but that knee is clearly not 100%. Who knows if one big hit or a Packers losing streak causes them to shut him down. If there's an owner out there that would like to take the chance on Rodgers, move him now. The same could be said for Buccaneers quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick. The Buccaneers are now 2-1. He has thrown for 400 yards in 3 straight games, a first in the history of the league. However, at some point soon, the Fitzmagic's going to run out, and Jameis Winston will be the Bucs quarterback again. Sell high on Fitzpatrick. There's Kerryon Johnson. Yes, he ran for 100 yards against the Patriots, but that was their game plan. That was the Patriots' weakness, and as Matt Patricia knew. With LeGarrette Blount and Theo Riddick still in that backfield, you could sell high on Johnson, who still has not scored this season and is still a rookie. So remember, he could be someone you could sell high coming off that 100-yard game. Then you got Sammy Watkins, the Chiefs wide receiver. The Chiefs are simply not going to score 40 points every game, and when that happens, Watkins' value is going to decrease. Coming off 2 solid games in a row, you sell high on Sammy Watkins. Now let's talk about some guys you want to start this week in your fantasy league. And the first is another Bengal, and that's Gio Bernard. He came off a solid game last week where he had over 60 yards, 5 catches, and a touchdown. We all saw what Alvin Kamara did last week to the Falcons. You got to get Gio in your lineups this week. Case Keenum's another guy that you have to play because of the matchup on Monday Night Football at home against the Chiefs. The Chiefs' secondary is dreadful. Keenum has the ability with his weapons to throw for over 300 yards and 2 to 3 scores this week. And for those owners that lost Jimmy G for the season, Keenum's a solid pickup and play this week. You then got Eli Manning, who much like Sterling Shepard gets a cake matchup this week against the Saints secondary. I would start Eli everywhere I could this week and enjoy the ride against those Saints and that terrible pass defense. And then there's Allen Robinson of the Bears. Seems to be the favorite target of Mitch Trubisky. And against the Bucs team that's got lit up on the secondary in all 3 of their games, I would trust him this week as a solid wide receiver too, especially in those short to intermediate routes. And in PPR leagues, I think Robinson's a great play. For guys to bench, the first name may be surprising, but it surely should happen, where you need to bench Jared Goff in your league. Yes, he's coming off back-to-back 354-yard passing games, but against the Vikings last year, he struggled, completed only 23 of 37 passes for only 225 yards, no touchdowns or interceptions. And the Vikings defense, despite getting lit up by the Bills last week, has not allowed more than 253 pass yards in any game this season. You simply have to find a better option than Goff this week. Another quarterback to steer clear from is Carson Wentz of the Eagles. Simply put, he was okay against the Colts, but not great. And now he goes up against the Titans defense that's limited the Dolphins, Texans, and Jaguars to no one over 300 yards passing, and they've created 4 turnovers. Wentz was sacked 5 times last week, didn't rush much out of the pocket, and did throw an interception. If you can find a better matchup than Wentz this week, you go for it. Another name on this list is Kenyon Drake. And despite his breakout performance last year on Monday Night Football, as you see here against the Patriots, last week he was basically shown the door. 5 carries for 3 yards in a win last week. There's just too much Frank Gore in there for the Dolphins to trust Drake week in and week out, despite his success last year in the same matchup against the Pats. Then there's Robbie Anderson, 10 targets in 3 games, and his only touchdown this season comes right here. This long touchdown to Sam Darnold, a 41-yarder, and that's his season high in terms of yardage. You simply cannot trust Robbie Anderson this week against the Jaguars. And then outside of Matt Breida, who is also questionable to play this week for the 49ers, you can't trust any of them with the injury to Jimmy G. Unfortunately, this is a huge blow to Marquise Goodwin and George Kittle, and even those that are playing and trusting Pierre Garçon. For much more fantasy analysis throughout the week, check us out on the Phantom Facebook Fantasy Forum page, as well as the Sunday show, the All Out Blitz, from 11:45 to kickoff, as we analyze all the latest news. We talk about waiver wire additions, trade analysis, and some gambling picks. Until then, have a great rest of the week, and hit us up on the forum.